you didn't do this yet, copy down what we do together so that you have some of it done. At least then you have a head start to finish the rest of it sometime today, hopefully, or sometime this weekend, so that you are submitting your homework. So yesterday, Mr. King did 2, 3, and 4 with you. So I wanted to look at number 5. And then we're going to go over number 12, one of the graphing problems. So tell whether the ordered pair is a solution of the system. And then the ordered pair that we're given in this case is -1, 1. So we know when we're given an ordered pair that that ordered pair represents x and y. And if you're deciding if it's a solution, that means you need to plug it in. So we're going to first take 2x plus y less than or equal to 0. And we're going to plug in -1 for x. Whoops, forgot my 1. And a +1 for y. So 2x plus y is now 2 times -1 plus 1. And we want to know, is that less than or equal to 0? So Haley, when we multiply 2 times 1, we get, or sorry, 2 times -1, we get. And what is -2 plus 1? Oh, -2 plus 1. There we go. Is -1 less than 0? Yeah, all right. So that one checks off. If the first one works, you have to do the second. So we're going to look at the second. It says x minus y is greater than -2. So we will plug in x, -1, minus y, so -1, and then greater than -2. Nathan, what is -1 minus 1? So yeah, -2. Here's the tricky question. Is -2 bigger than -2? No, it's the same, it's equal to, but it's not bigger than it. And that inequality symbol says greater than. So if one is a yes, and then the second one is a no, is this ordered pair a solution of the system? No. So big no there. Make sure that you write a final answer. So yes, the first one checks out, but no, the second one doesn't. So that means the ordered pair is not a solution. Number 4, when we check that one, plugging in 0, 0, the first equation or inequality didn't work. If you get the first one to be a no, then you are done with the problem. But again, make sure that you're emphasizing or kind of noting the fact that it is not a solution or it is a solution. So make sure you're writing a final answer. All right. So we are going to go down to number 12. Mr. King started this one yesterday, and then we just didn't get to finish it. We ran out of time. Yesterday's class seemed to fly by.
It did fly by when you're having fun.
Heck yeah. So again, if you didn't get to number 12 on the homework, we're doing it right now. So look at your number 12, and we're just going to work through this one together a little quicker here. These two problems do not have y by themselves, so we need to get y by itself by subtracting 3x to the other side, so that we end up with 2y greater than or equal to -3x minus 2. Remember, y equals 4, and that's how we graph. And then we divide by 2. So that my y is by itself. We end up with -3 over 2x, and then -2 divided by 2 is -1. So using your highlighter, colored pencil, we are going to graph this first one, making the boundary line pretty bold and then shading. So going down to -1. The slope is -3 over 2. So down 3 over 2. Or I could go up 3 and backwards 2. All right, Haley, greater than or equal to, solid or dashed line? Yeah, because equal to means, ooh, it's allowed to be on that line. It's equal to, there we go.
There we go.
All right. And then Haley, greater than, would we shade above or below? Above, yeah. So go to a point on the line, go above it, and then you need to go above everything on that line. And pick a color that is lighter. This is a nice green Mr. King was using yesterday.
Oh, yeah.
So the second inequality, that's just one. This is a longer problem. We have to do the second one as well. So here is inequality number 1. I just kind of section that off. Now we're going to look at inequality number 2. We have to subtract x. 2y less than or equal to negative 1x plus 2. And then we have to divide by 2. So we have negative 1/2 x plus 1. And pretty purple here. So we're going to do this one in purple. Again, we do start with our boundary line, making the boundary line bold. That goes up at 1, but its slope is down 1, right 1. Or we can move up 1, left 1. Nathan, this says less than or equal to. So that means it's going to be a solid or dashed line when it says equal to. Solid, yeah. And then which way do we shade, Nathan, if it's less than? Below. So again, go to a point, go below it so that you know where the below side is, and then follow that whole line and make sure you're going below the entire line. So it might help to like outline the location and then color it in. And again, you're coloring all of it in below the entire line. So when you look at your final graph, there are really 3 sections of the graph. There's this big top green section. The bottom left is a purple section. There's an area where there is no coloring. It's just white. And then there's an area where my colors overlap. And notice how it's across from the white. It's diagonal. That's where our solution is. So the solution is where both colors overlap. Please make sure that you darken that solution. So our solution isn't the white area, because that isn't where anything is shaded, but instead it's the overlapping where both of them are shaded. And that's in between these 2 lines. So I'm going to try and follow both of these boundary lines and shade in between. So pick a darker color, shade in that solution. So it should be obvious where the final answer is. And if you're using 2 colors, then you can kind of see those overlapping sections. Questions? So as I said, 2 problems today, and then really just practicing graphing. There's 10 graphing problems for homework. So if you take out your notes, we are on page, oh, there's no page number. The number after yesterday, I don't know, maybe 16, I think.
Thank you.
Do those 2 problems on example.
Yep. Okay, so we're just about ready to graph part A, except the second equation, is not solved yet. So we're going to do the first one. We'll do in a purple color, and the second one we'll do in that light green, just to be consistent from yesterday. The purple color is ready to graph, so we could just go ahead and get that out of the way and graph it now. So we'll start there. Haley, what's our y-intercept? 4, yeah. So put a big dot on 4. And then from there, what are we going to do? Go up or down? Yeah, down 2 to the right 3. And this is a small graph. So you notice that these are actually almost the only 2 points we can make. We can make one up here as well. And is this going to be an open or dashed line? Sorry, a dashed or solid line? Dashed, yeah. So do your best to draw a nice dashed line through there. And if you prefer to solve first, you could definitely solve the second equation first before you start this. If you want to do one equation at a time, that's also a strategy you could do. So either way. And now, are we going to shade above or below this line? Yeah, so you take a point and you go up, and that means we're going to be on this side, all up in here of the line. So we have this line done. So now what we have to do is we go to our next line, and we're going to see something goofy happen here.
Special ones.
Very special ones. So we get 2x plus 3y is less than or equal to 6. So we're going to solve like we have been solving for the last 2 months. Subtract over to 2x. We get 3y is less than or equal to negative 2x plus 6. And then our last step is we divide by 3. Do we flip the sign here, Haley? No. Jason, what's our final answer? Y is less than or equal to what?
Negative 2 or 3 plus 2.
Yeah. Negative 2 or 3x plus 2. What do you notice about the green final equation and the purple one? What's similar? Michael?
The m's the same.
Yeah, it has the same slope. So what are the lines going to be, Michael? Same slope, different y-intercept. What kind of lines are those? Starts with a P.
Perpendicular.
The other one?
Parallel.
Parallel. Very good. So with the green, we're going to go and graph this now. So we're going to graph at 2 is our y-intercept, and we're going to go down 2 over 3, up 2 over 3. And TJ, is this going to be a solid line or a dashed line?
It's going to be a solid line.
Yeah, solid answer there. Well, I'll try it one more time.
If you hold it down, it then makes like a line.
Ah, look at that. Learn
Before you
something
start-
new.
Before you start it, if you like hold and then draw, it'll make a straight.
Ah, I'm going to try that out on the
Try
next
it
one.
next time.
Let's go. So now, this one is we're going to shade above or below this line. If it's less than, yeah, it's below. So we're going to shade on this side. And then again, this is a very special case. Because remember our definition for solving a system of linear inequalities. In order for a solution to be true, the point has to exist in both inequalities, the top one and the bottom one. is there any point that is true for both? Is there any overlapping points? No. There's no overlapping points. So what do we say the answer is to this one? If there's no points.
Undefined would be good.
Undefined, good. What else could we say? That's it. Yeah. So we can say undefined, or you can say no solution.
Remember, like, it has to be an overlapping region for there to be a solution. If our colors aren't overlapping together, then there is no answer.
Yeah, there's absolutely no answer. Very good special case. All right, second one.
Can we flip that second?
Do what?
Oh, wait, I think it's okay. You just keep going.
Okay. So now let's look at this next special case here. We have the top equation inequality solved for us. The bottom one's not. Haley, would you like to graph the top one, or would you like to start by solving the bottom one? Graph the top one while we can. That's fine. We can certainly do that. So let's graph it. What's the y-intercept? Yeah, and then from there you go down 3 to the right 4. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. And notice this one, we can only get 2 points on it. It's going to be a solid or dashed line. Chase.
Solid.
Yeah. All right, let me try this thing. Okay, let's go. Oh, that is fancy. Yeah, I like that. Love it. And now we got a graph or shade. So we're going to shade above or below this line. Yeah, above. It's a real light if you're using your pencil. And now we solve. So first step, subtract 3x. Then you get 4y is less than 3x plus 16. Divide by 4. And you get y is less than negative 3/4 x plus 4. Michael, coming back to you again. What do you notice about the two lines? What kind of lines are they?
They're parallel.
Yeah, they're parallel. So we're going to go ahead and graph. We put a dot on 4, same way. From there, down 3, over 4. I'm going to use this new trick. Oh, geez. There we go. TJ, am I shading above or below this line?
Above.
If it's less than.
Oh,
Oh, hold on. I messed up. I'm sorry. It's not a solid line. It should be a dashed line. Because if we look, the inequality does not have an equal sign. So I apologize on that.
I think you got excited about trying.
I did get excited about that new thing. So you're going to draw a dashed line for that one. If you drew a solid line, you could just erase it with the eraser.
I don't know how to get it to change to a dash line. I have to research a little more.
Yeah.
If you want to do a dash line on notability, what I do is I just draw a solid line using the long crest thing, make a straight line, and then just change the eraser tool to
So you could just,
partial.
Okay,
that works too.
to the partial eraser. Okay.
Although that would erase
Oh,
The shading
the
too.
coloring.
Yeah. So we're gonna go below here. So you want to draw underneath, and remember, it's going to be the entire area underneath. You are not limited to the other line. And now why this one's a special case is because we notice this doesn't have the 4 quadrants that are made when the lines cross. So we want to see, is there a solution here? And it's either going to be above the green line, between the 2 lines, or below the purple line. So above, between, or below. Jason Korn, what is our solution going to be here? Is it above the line, the green, between the lines, or below the purple line? Where do they overlap?
Nowhere.
What did you say?
Nowhere.
Well, not nowhere, because
In
remember,
between.
in between, yeah. So they overlapped in between. So this in between section is our solution. Good. And just to, you don't have to write this down. Please don't write it down. But if we look at the example that we just looked at over there, if we change that, if we change this, what is it? If we change this to a greater than symbol, then what it's going to look like, and again, do not write this down, is you're going to have this side shaded. If we have this side shaded, well, where is their solution? Where they overlap? And that's going to be the top part. Up here is where they overlapped. Does that make sense? So it's like wherever they overlap is going to be your solution. So we have 10 problems for you to work on. We're going to see if they're posted.
So assignment is on Google Classroom like normal. Are you there?
Yeah.
No. You just go to the classwork. And then click on that little 3 dots over there. Edit it,
No.
and then cross that off. Just hit the X. And then hit assign.
Okay.
All right.
All right, should be good now.
So if you look on Google Classroom, the worksheet should have just posted for you. And it looks something like this.
It looks exactly like that.
Exactly like that. How about that? Exactly the same. You only have to do the first 10 problems. There are 12 on here.
Cross them
So you
off.
can cross the bottom 2 off unless you feel like, hey, I want to do an extra 2 problems. So you don't have to. So 1 through 10 is what I'm asking you to complete, not 11 and 12, unless you want to go over 11 and 12, if you want to do them. Let's look at number 2, because I think that one looks a little different. Number 4 looks a little different as well. If you'll notice on these, you definitely have to solve for the variables, whereas the worksheet that was due today, a lot of them you didn't have to solve for. All right, so for number 2, y is greater than or equal to 2x. So get my little colors out here. Y is by itself, but just be careful. The slope is 2. There is not a y-intercept in number 2. So it begins at 0. So just be careful with that. And then you would move up 2 over 1. So anytime it doesn't have that extra number added to it, that y-intercept is 0. And then I would connect my points with a beautiful line. Greater than means above, so I'm going anywhere above the line. So for the second one, that one's in purple, I need to get x to the other side so that y is by itself. This is negative x plus 8. This slope is negative 1, and the y-intercept is positive 8. So my purple line begins all the way up at 8. And then our slope is down 1, right 1. Another solid line, less than or equal to, solid line. And less than is below. So go to a point on that line, go below the entire line. That's a really big section where we're shading below.
Mhm. And it's good to remember, because it gets real tricky. It's kind of, if you remember the rule, opposite the open area, makes it a
So
little bit easier to find.
here is the area that's open, that white area. There's no solution there, there's no shading. If you go directly across from it or opposite, that's where they're overlapping. And that's going to be your answer. So go to the white section that you didn't shade, go opposite of it, and that's where your answer would be located. That's where the overlapping region exists. And just follow that boundary line and then shade it in. Looking at 4, 5, and 6. 4, 5, and 6 all have y by itself. And remember, when y is by itself, that's a horizontal line. So in 4, 5, and 6, they will all have horizontal lines. So for number 4, I would go to the 6 on the y-axis. And then I have to go across, straight through that point to make my horizontal line. So horizontal. You're going to do the same thing for 5, the same thing for 6. There's going to be horizontal lines in those 3 problems. So I did that in purple below the horizontal line. The second equation has y by itself, so down to 3, up 2 over 1, or down 2 backwards 1. And this one's solid because it says equal to. And this is our green. So, whoop, wrong tool. Shade above the line. Any point, I'm going above the line. So as Mr. King said, the important thing to think about, look at the white area, go diagonal or opposite across, but that's where the solution is. That's where it's overlapping. And it does appear darker than the other 2. So overlap. graphing area. All right, so you got 2 done. 8 more to go. This is the homework. We still have 10, no, not quite 10, but 7 minutes in class, 6 minutes in class. You can work on graphing. Those of you at home, if you have questions, please ask. If you're hesitant to ask, send us through the chat. You can chat us a question. Otherwise, have a great weekend. Please do this homework assignment. Do the homework. Please submit
Ask
this work.
questions if you have questions.
And those of you in the class, again, we got some time. Just keep on working. Try and get, I don't know, maybe you can get 2, 3 more done.
4.
Yeah, try and shoot for getting a couple of the problems done on this worksheet, and then you got a good bit of it done.